Alrighty guys, welcome back to Star Wars Review. Today I'm reviewing Star Wars Andor Season 1, which is from showrunner Tony Gilroy, who had wrote 5 of the episodes, but Dan Gilroy, Bill Willimon, and Stephen Schiff wrote the others, but the episodes were directed by Toby Haynes, Susanna White, and Benjamin Caron. The series starred Diego Luna as Cassian Andor and was released from September 21st, 2022 to November 23rd, 2022. And it was fantastic. Going into the series, it wasn't my most anticipated Star Wars series, but I definitely was looking forward to it. And definitely after the trailers were released, it looked pretty good, but it was even better than I could have expected. Comparing it to, the other Disney Plus series I've watched, including not just the Star Wars stuff, but like stuff like the Marvel stuff, it's just leagues above everything else. I've enjoyed the Star Wars stuff. I like Mandalorian. I like the Obi-Wan Kenobi even. Obviously the animated stuff like Bad Batch, Clone Wars Season 7, I've enjoyed. But this first season of Andor is better than all of them. And I think its biggest strength is that it's longer. It's 12 episodes compared to the 8 of post-season of The Mandalorian, the 6 of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Boba Fett was like 7 episodes. So, it just had more time. And, each episode were on average about longer than definitely The Mandalorian. Probably just slightly more than Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan, the episodes weren't like super duper short. Like The Mandalorian, there's some really short episodes. But, I feel like it's just used its time a lot better. It is a pretty slow show. In fact, really there isn't much action scenes. I'd really say about half of the episodes have action scenes, and some of those episodes is just more like just a couple. But there are more faster paced scenes and more episodes. But I love that about this series because instead of using all the time to focus on big action scenes and whatnot, it uses time to focus on the characters, to dive deeper into every single one of them. And the series just had such great writing and also performances from all the actors, so it just really worked so well. And because of that, it just made slower moments just still feel so good. Obviously some of the slower moments definitely have a lot of tension to them, so that definitely helped also. But those slower moments helped build up to the episodes where there were bigger moments or bigger action moments, more faster paced episodes, like episode 6 The Eye, episode 10 One Way Out, and episode 12 Rick's Road. Probably my 3 favorite episodes, and they're probably the episodes of some of those action scenes, and they're probably the most faster paced ones. But I don't know if I would have liked them as much if I didn't have those episodes beforehand, but were a little slower and what built up the characters and whatnot, like with episode 10 One Way Out, seeing the previous 2 episodes, building up everything on the prison, and definitely building up the character Kino Loy, played by Andy Serkis, just made the moments in episode 10 just so much better. I loved Kino's speech to all the prisoners, saying, there's only one way out. I really love that. Obviously, episode 6, The Eye, works so much better because of the 2 previous episodes building up this heist on Aldhani and whatnot. So that worked well. And episode 12, Rick's Road, was just the culmination of everything. The previous 11 episodes and everything on Ferrix and whatnot. But, obviously, I've been talking about the slower moments. I'm not saying it's a negative. In fact, I really love those slower moments. I was never once bored while watching the show. And definitely because the writing and performance were just so good. Obviously, some of the slower moments definitely had a lot of tension to it. Definitely a lot of scenes with Mon Mothma. Every scene with Mon Mothma was a slower, more character-driven scene. But also, I guess, driven by the tension of every single scene she was in. I loved all that. And then also talking about performances, I just loved every single one. There wasn't a performance or character or actor or whatever I just didn't like. In fact, I'd say I liked every single one. There wasn't even one I just thought was just okay. Every single one was really great. Really loved every single one. Obviously, Diego Luna's Cassian Andor is great. I loved his journey in this season. Going from someone not wanting to fight the Empire to someone wanting to fight them and join the rebellion. Obviously, we knew he would, get there, but I loved, the build up for it through the season. So it's so satisfying when, he does make that turn. But Stellan Skarsgård as a Luthen Rail was great. Andy Serkis as Kino Loy was great. Fiona Shaw as Marva Andor. I'd probably say those were my 3 favorites. I really loved them, but also Genevieve O'Reilly as Mon Mothma was also great. I already talked about her scenes and the tension of it. Also Denise Goss, Dedra Miro, and Kyle Soller as Cyril Karn. I really liked them as the more main villain characters. I thought they were great. Obviously, some of the supporting characters like Nemec and Skeen from the Aldani episodes were great. On Ferrix, characters like Brasso, Bix, B2 Emo, I love them. And just, also just so many even more minor characters were great. Definitely a lot of, the characters on Ferrix, just made the scenes on Ferrix just so great, and even made Ferrix, the location, feel like its own character. So I really, really love that. And, also Ferrix, just the big, set to it and whatnot. Just, it really, really made it feel like a character, and, all the characters and whatnot really made the community feel so big and whatnot. I really, really loved all of that. Talking about locations and, sets and production designs, that was all great. Ferrix was also great. Coruscant was cool too. It was cool to see Coruscant in a big role in a live action story again. Really the first time since Revenge of the Sith. So about, 16 years. 17 years since then. Obviously, Coruscant's appeared in live action recently in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. That was kind of briefly just some flashback scenes. Also, it does actually appear in Rogue One. It's probably something kind of missable. I think it was the one flashback scene where you see Jin with Galen, and you see them with other Jin's mother. I can't remember her name. Also Krennic. I think they're technically on Coruscant. They're just in a building, and you see the background. It's technically supposed to be Coruscant, but anyways, that doesn't really matter to this. But also places like Aldani was great. Niemos was a standout. The prison, Narkina 5. I loved that set. Just the the sleek white walls and all that. Just kind of creepy. So I really love that. Also, I already talked about it a little bit, but the writing and direction of each episode was top notch. I really loved that. Also, the score. I did not write this down. I just remembered it now. I can't remember the composer's name. Nicholas Bretal. I think that's his name. I don't remember his name right now. The score was great. One thing I really liked was how each episode has the opening title card and whatnot. It's technically the same theme but slightly different. So I really like that. But just every bit of music and score and whatnot in the episodes were great. Obviously, I mentioned Niemos earlier. The music playing there was great. Just everything was great about that. And just everything about this first season was great. I loved it so much. I really don't have anything negative to say about it. If I was forced to say something negative, I guess I'd say it kind of lacked this kind of pulpiness of Star Wars. But then again, it doesn't really matter because the show wasn't really about that. It was more about the oppression of the Empire. And, that's not a very fun, pulpy thing to talk about. So, that makes sense. And it really didn't bother me too much not having that. there were some moments in some of the episodes, but I, was, too invested in everything else to actually even care about that. And even if I wasn't, I really wouldn't have cared too much about that. That's, once again, if I was forced to say something negative about it, that's what I would say. Also, one thing, this is more actual story detail, which I really haven't talked about many story details in this review, but one thing I wish they wrapped up this season was the stuff with Cassian's sister in his home world of Kanahari. I do wish they kind of just wrapped this up. That's this season, but I do fully expect it to be explored more next season, so that's not that big of a deal. Obviously, if next season they don't talk about it more, then I'll kind of be a little disappointed there, but obviously that's something I expect to be more explored later. Just kind of wish they kind of wrapped it up for this season, but this show was just perfect. I loved everything about it. I highly recommend watching it. In fact, if you're someone who really isn't into Star Wars that much, I think it's a perfect show to watch. But even if you are into Star Wars, you'll still enjoy it. So yeah, I just really, really love this show. So yeah, but my grade, I'm gonna give it an A++. So yeah, but that's gonna be it for this one. You can check out my individual reviews for each 12 episodes of the first season. And you can check out everything else I do. Obviously, when season 2 eventually starts, probably in 2024, I'll be doing reviews of it then. So you can check those out then. But in the meantime, I've been Sarzu, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
They're so proud of themselves, so fat and satisfied.